Well, I had nothing better to do, so I watched another episode of Project Blue Book. This one called Green Fireballs, and this refers to an actual incident in which nuclear testing was apparently interfered with by UFOs and the sighting of green fireballs, and even to the point that they almost fired a missile inadvertently, and they were able to stop it. But that's just sort of the setup here. Once again, the best part of the show, besides its cast, which is excellent, is the mood and atmospherics and the look that they are able to achieve. And every time one of these shows approaches the test sites of nuclear testing, where they would build these fake towns and neighborhoods and what have you, and then you had mannequins all over the place representing the townspeople and all that, and then they would detonate the bombs and then record what happened and all that, and examine the destruction and what it's capable of, and so on and so forth. So that's the setup here, and you're seeing these soldiers go in there and they're inspecting the place, and then all of a sudden they get the alarm, and then holy crap, the missile's about to launch, and they're in the middle of the town, and they're like, oh no, what do we do? And they're panicking, and they start praying and all this stuff, and then they are able to stop it. Well, and then they see the green fireballs and all that, and it leaves you with the base wasn't able to stop the countdown, it just stopped itself, and so that means the aliens were messing with the nuclear test. And it's always been the running theory of a lot of the UFO activity begins increases more to the point after World War II with the development of the atomic bomb, and that they're constantly seem to be investigating these areas. So you've got the New Mexico and the desert out there where they did all these tests and everything. So that all fits in with the reality and the lore of UFO stories. Then the rest of the show is just its own thing. So Hynek is now haunted by the image of the man who committed suicide in the previous episodes, where he actually has visions of seeing him and he's all burnt up, and then he ends up burning again and all this stuff. But then, is it a message from the aliens to him or what have you? Who knows? But he and Quinn visit this site to investigate what happened with the green fireballs. And both of them are pursuing two different goals. Of course, Hynek wants to find out what this is all about. He's very suspicious, and he's already a believer at this point of the aliens or whatever they are. He's not sure. Meanwhile, Quinn, he's after spies and espionage. And, of course, the interesting thing about the show is they're both right. There are Russian spies spying on them, of course. If Quinn wants to catch some Russian spies, he should just head over back to Hynek's house and pick up Hynek's Mimi's new girlfriend because she's the spy, which would just break Quinn's heart because he's met the woman and he's already interested. So, but anyway, there is a spy, a communist sympathizer who shows up at the town, and it's played by this guy from The Sopranos. And for why, I don't know. I'm blanking on the character. How could I do that? But anyway, you'll know him when you see him. And, of course, the Majestic 12 guys say, yeah, he's been a communist all his life. And then they put it towards Quinn that, yes, the green fireballs could be Soviet spy tech that we just haven't figured out yet. But they were using it to spy on our facility. And Quinn's just like, damn it, I knew it. And so they want him to think that, so that's a believable story on him, but also at the time to tell him, look, we can't let this out to the American people, and plus we don't want the Soviets to know that we know that they know that we know that they know. Well, they didn't quite put it that way, but it was pretty damn close. So that's to keep Quinn on board, to know that this is about fighting Russians and all that in his Cold War times. Meanwhile, Hynek is looking for the aliens, and he has an incident, another vision of the guy who committed suicide in the previous episode, and he wakes up, and a man in black is standing there talking to him in the shadows and tells him to meet him in a church later. I don't know if he really is a true man in black or just a man in black. It's just like in X-Files, where Mulder kept encountering these guys who claimed to have all the answers and all this sort of stuff, and they would lead him forever and ever and ever and never really explain anything. So now this is the one for Hynek, and they do meet in the church, and he's tossing clues and whatnot. And at the end of the show, Hynek goes through some files, and he finds this what looks like some sort of alien device. And at this point, he decides to be honest to his wife and let her in on what's going on, which, of course, is just great for the Russian spy because she's bugged the place, and so all she has to do is listen to their conversations, and she'll know more of what the Americans are up to. Meanwhile, Quinn does capture the Sopranos guy and interrogates him, and that's going to heat up in the next episode. So there you go. The show does end with a brief. They always end with a brief on the actual event that inspires the episode, even though the episode is really not about it at all anymore. The first 2 episodes kind of made it look like they were investigating those things. And they were investigating the Green Fireball, but that's not how the story went. So anyway, a guy investigating it said he couldn't determine what it was, and he thought it might be spy material and stuff like that. The official word from the Air Force, meteors. And so they have it after meeting with the man in black, whether he is a man in black or not, just a man. Hynek realizes he needs to play along to stay with the group. And so he agrees to sign off on the report that, yes, the green fireballs were just meteors. And, of course, everyone just got a little psyched up with hysteria, with the job they're doing and all that sort of thing. So this one was not a bad episode. It was actually pretty good, even though I've soured on the concept of the show because in some respects I think it's disrespectful to the people who are real in these stories. Whether you believe that stuff or not, most of it I don't, but Hynek certainly became more to believe that there was something more to some of these stories. Not all of them. A lot of them I think he genuinely debunked. This show treats every story's real. You think they would do a few where you think you're about to get the answer and you don't, and you have to realize you need to maintain your intellect and reason when you're doing an investigation and not just come to a conclusion before you find all the facts out. And that would be a good thing to have here and there within the series. I know the sexier idea is that it's aliens and there's, monsters everywhere, all that sort of stuff, but I think a few episodes, written well, can still be just as entertaining to find out, well, it turns out it wasn't anything, and not everything is an ET. So maybe they'll do that in time. The show has been picked up for a second season, so apparently somebody really likes it. And this one, of course, for the mood and atmospherics, which it does well. I suppose over time, because it is a period piece, can get its own identity apart from X-Files, but not by much. That's, so far that's about it. But I suppose it could improve. They do have a good cast, and this one was an entertaining episode. So I'll give it 4 out of 5 stars, just on the idea that I was entertained. So, and I wasn't expecting it. I was getting really soured on the whole thing, and this one kind of, I don't know why really. But everybody was on their best performance here, I guess, is how that works out. So there you go. Project Blue Book, Green Fireballs. Thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe, or just subscribe, if you didn't like it. I'll do better next time, I promise. And while you're here, check out that link description below. That'll take you to my many stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Bye-bye.